Hello, guys. This is part 4 of What If Deku Was Toph. So, uh, we're currently at the USJ, and the Nomu, if I remember correctly, just got skewered by Toph. And Toph has her temporary hero license, not provisional, not hero license, temporary hero license. So, she can be considered a hero when other heroes are around. Makes a little sense, hopefully. So, Shigaraki was just knocked out. Nomu is running at Toph. Toph skewers the Nomu. Kurogiri sees that Nomu is nor even close to being able to hurt Toph because A, she's super tough. B, well, it's Toph, she's a badass. And C, just one tap of the foot on the ground, Toph knows exactly where you are. So, yeah. So, it's windy. I walk outside in a beautiful day, and it starts being windy. The hell? But, so Kurogiri makes the conscious decision to retreat with Shigaraki while Shigaraki's still knocked out. And since Aizawa is not being overrun, if I remember correctly, he's not being overrun because of Toph. He's helping a lot. He's not being overrun, so he can keep his eyes on Kurogiri. And Kurogiri can't use his quirk, so he runs to, he runs to Shigaraki, picks Shigaraki up, goes behind something, and breaks line of sight with Aizawa, but Toph can still know where they are, and Aizawa has to blink now because of his quirk's downside, so he finally blinks and Kurogiri disappears. And Toph yells, "Aizawa, what the hell? I know you have dry eyes, but come on, it just got away." And Aizawa goes, "I'm sorry, freaking hurts." And then they continue cleaning up all the other villains, while the Nomu's still screeching and breaking and trying to break through the rock. But since Toph can control all minerals, she made those she made those spikes out of metal. And yes, I'm giving her lava bending. I'm giving her lava bending. Well, technically it's called magma bending, but when it's on the surface, it's called lava. So, Toph has lava bending. And when it's all finished, the cops arrive. And this is a few minutes after the pro heroes arrive, because Toph told everybody to run. Well, told Ida to run. So Ida got the rest of the pro heroes, but they couldn't break through Toph's wall. And Toph couldn't bring down the wall because she was focusing on fighting. So when they finally got in, everybody was currently knocked out or restrained by Aizawa or Toph. The police get there, take all the villains away. And breaking news, new hero, Gaia, stops UA UA a infiltration via villains. And Toph is currently in her dorm room, sleeping. And Alex is going, yeah! Wait, that's a cool friggin' name! And then she feels something rumbling. She's like, oh crap! I'm loud! So she jumps, and an earth spike gets shot up where she was. And she goes, I know to be quiet now. So she just goes, sorry, Toph. Everybody asks, who the hell's Toph? And then she gets an immediate rock spike into the butt again. And she's like, oh crap, I mean Izumi. And Bakugo finally puts it together and is like, wait, you mean Toph? I can't say Toph's last name. You mean Toph, whatever her last name is. Like, I don't know how to say it. Please don't hate me for not knowing how to say it. I'm not Japanese, I'm not Chinese, I'm not Eastern. I'm white. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I'm so white, I'm pink. Just me being in the sun for a few seconds, my face is beet red now. Because I was just standing in the sun. So, I'm sorry if you guys expect me to know how to say all these words. I'm sorry. I don't know how to, and I probably won't study on how. Unless I hear it a few times, I start saying it. Oh, there we go. I know how to say it. But if I specifically go looking for it, won't remember it. So, sue me. Well, please don't. Please don't actually sue me. I have nothing to my name right now besides this YouTube channel. That's it. So, So it's the next week when they get back to school, and Midnight walks up to Toph, or sorry, Izumi. She discarded the name Toph. And Midnight walks up to Izumi and asks, is Gaia your official hero name? And Izumi shakes her head yes. Or nods her head yes. Shakes, nods, pretty much the same thing. And Midnight goes, nice name. So Toph is now called Gaia by the UA staff. When she keeps Izumi's now called Gaia by the UA staff, but she keeps insisting them to call her Izumi or Midoriya. So The UA Sports Festival comes around, and President Mike says, since there is a pro hero, a soon to be official pro hero in the 1A class, we are going to have her talk to uh, talk to the class. But there's one rule for this entire fight, for this entire setting. No cheering. I know that's a weird rule, but if you guys cheer too loudly, you are going to affect her in a negative way. And this is the only exception we're ever putting on a sports festival, is no cheering. That's the only exception. I currently have my volume all the way to 0, and you guys can still hear me. This is President Mike saying it. He has his volume all the way down to 0 because there's a little dial on his neck piece to help control his volume. And everybody's like, so that's why he's not yelling. And I was always going, oh, thank God for Toph. Because he still hates when President Mike yells. And she's not introduced by Izumi Midoriya. She's introduced by the name Gaia, Mother of Earth. The Earth hero Gaia, Mother of Earth. And everybody, all the classes walk out, except for Toph, where Eraserhead, Midnight, and President Mike are confused because they're like, hold on, we need to check something real quick. And Midnight puts her finger to the device and says, Toph, where are you? And then Toph yells into the device, hey, stop calling me that. I'm Izumi or Midoriya. And the angered voice of Izumi is loud in their ears, and I go, fine. Where are you? And Izumi goes, I'm in the parking lot talking to Death Arms, Mount Lady, and Kamui Woods. It's starting. She goes, I know. Just patch me in over the loudspeakers. Over the intercom thing. Like, oh yeah. President Mike goes, there's also one little thing. She's currently in the parking lot because of the speakers. So we're going to have to turn those down so you really can't cheer. Or everybody will miss what we're saying. Don't worry. The students have earpieces in, so when I talk, it goes straight into their ears so they know what I'm saying. Except for the one student, Jiro. We just had to put a receiver on her quirk. And everybody looks at Jiro and goes, what? And then she pulls the receiver that's currently hooked to her collar and says, yeah, I don't need an earpiece. So she hooks it back to her collar, and President Mike says, okay, now introducing Gaia. And everybody wants to cheer, but the scary image of Aizawa pops up on screen with the shut up look. And all of a sudden they hear rumbling and see the ground open. And then they hear like someone huffing and puffing, like they're doing some intense workout. And Toph comes shooting up out of the ground. And Mount Lady and Comedy Woods are currently watching the screen, and they turn around and they see uh, Izumi gone. They ask Death Arms what happened, and Death Arms said she just stomped the ground and disappeared. So, Midnight is like, well, flashy entrance. Oh well. So Midnight goes straight onto the roulette, and she spins the roulette, and Toph doesn't know what's on it because she can't see. Nobody knows what's on it because it's spinning, and it lands on obstacle course. And Toph immediately gets a wicked grin. So Alex, who knows her job of stomping where the starting line is, she walks up to the starting line and stomps twice to tell Izumi that that's the starting line. So Izumi walks up to the starting line, and once President Mike says, go, Izumi stomps the ground and everybody gets shot up into the air, and she gets sent flying. And each time she hits the ground, she hits it really hard, and it sends her flying even faster. So when she gets to the pit area, she gets sent right over it. When she gets to the landmine area, she moves the mines without touching the topsoil, well, to everywhere that the dots aren't. And there's GPS in the mines for the teachers to know where they are. And Aizawa's eyes widen, thinking, she just did a genius move. He starts laughing. He has to shut his mic off because he was laughing too hard. All the heroes pale because they've never heard Aizawa laugh so hard. And Night Eye doesn't know what's going on because all he saw was Toph stomp the ground near it, and then she starts walking over the minefield like nothing's happening. She casually walks over it. And once she's on the other side, she starts running again. And once one of the other contestants walks on the minefield, they're like, you gotta be careful of the mines. They're placed weirdly, and President Mike, knowing what Izumi did, is like, we also had a contestant change the mines, so they're placed even more sporadically. And no one went on to the minefield because they wanted to know what the situation was. And Bakugo just flew right over it, wanting to catch up with Izumi. So, what was it? Oh, yeah. So Izumi got first, Bakugo got second, Todoroki got third, Alex got fourth. Yeah, Alex got fourth. So on to the cavalry battles. No, let's skip that. On to the fights. So Shinso. Nah, not Shinso. Let's say... So this is going to be a weird one. It's Izumi versus Tetsu. And Tetsu, from what I could gather from his personality, is he's a nice guy. Just he gets jealous really easily. And he walks out, and when they say go, he transforms into metal. And Toph feels this and is like, you just messed up. So she stomps the ground and basically punches forward, and Tetsu goes flying out of the ring. And Aizawa's mic is still off because he's still laughing his ass off. He's still having a lot of fun. So, Midnight is like, I don't think that could have been any worse for him. So, Kirishima and Shinso fight. This time, Shinso doesn't feel compelled to use his quirk because he thinks Kirishima sucks and is not worth his time. So, Kirishima completely bodies Shinso. Because of his hardening, he just hardens and backhands Shinso, and Shinso gets knocked out. Yeah, Shinso's not very powerful. Bakugo versus Uraraka. That goes to canon. Except for the part where Bakugo sends a giant explosion up to the sky. He sends 2 medium-sized explosions to the sky, not one giant one. And this time, people put Momo handed Izumi the sound canceling headphones that some gardeners use. I forget what they're called. I could probably just look at the thing and then see the name of it. But so Momo makes one of those and hands it to Izumi and says, "Put this on. Bakugo's about to fight." So she puts it on and she feels the entire fight through the bleachers or through the stands. Because she can feel anybody within a mile radius. It just gets harder to feel them the further she is. So she's currently feeling the fight happen, and all of a sudden she hears a boom. So she takes it off knowing that the fight's over. And before Ochako could fall face first into the floor, Izumi stomps the ground and a bed forms. With wheels. Yes, it has wheels. Actually, not as skis. It's a ski bed. So so Toph does what the Earthbenders do for the train in Airbender. So she just pushes it along. But she also made a pedestal for Bakugo to lean on. So, yeah. Todoroki versus... yeah. Todoroki versus is Toph. I'd have to say Todoroki still wins. Yeah, Todoroki wins because he forms ice out of pure water. So Todoroki forms ice out of pure water, which if you guys don't know what pure water is, it's only H2O. No other molecules, no other atoms, just H2O in the water. There's nothing else. And Toph can't see through that. Well, she can see through it, but she can't control it. She can't control ice like waterbenders can. She can only control earth and a little bit of water when it's highly concentrated minerals in it. So if you can, if the water is brown from dirt, she can control that. So, um, what else? What else? What else? What else? So she loses. Next is Tokoyami versus Bakugo. Izumi puts the headpieces back on. The ear the earmuffs thingies, headphones, and she feels them stop moving. So she makes two pedestals. Tokoyami falls on one, and Bakugo falls on the other. Bakugo is currently awake. Tokoyami is currently asleep. And I did stop it in the middle of that. So my series are gonna probably end at the Stain arc, because I don't really like the Forest training camp. That's a really strange arc, but Izumi, what was it? Izumi. After the fight with Todoroki, Izumi walked up to Todoroki and asked, why is he only using his right side? And he says, that's my quirk. I can only shoot ice from my right side. And Izumi says, BS. And says, I remember what you said your quirk was. It's half hot, half cold. You can shoot fire from your left. Why aren't you shooting fire from your left? And then he spills his guts. And she goes, you dumbass. And he just looks shocked because no one's had the gall to call him a dumbass before because of who his father was. And he's never looked at it like that. And she says, you're not very smart, are you? If anything, I probably have the most reason not to use my quirk. Because my father was an earth manipulator with his quirk. So, guess what? I still use my quirk even though I'm his daughter. I freaking hate my father. And Todoroki asks, I thought Nare was your father. She goes, no, I'm adopted. And then all of a sudden, Nidell walks in and goes, I'm too late. Just crap, I forgot. Todoroki, you cannot tell anybody about this conversation. Todoroki goes, sure. Doesn't really matter to me. And then she goes, yeah, it will. So she basically talked no jutsu'd her, or him. And at the end of the sports festival, the number one loudmouth Pomeranian with anger issues walks up to her and says, is your original name Toph something or other? I forgot. I don't know how to say her name. Sorry if I am offending you by not knowing how to say her name. And, oops. Crunchy Fit's a really good YouTuber. And he asks her that, and she goes, why? Why do you ask me such a specific question? And he goes, because I missed my friend from so long ago, and I want to talk to her again. And he hesitated on the word friend. Because he doesn't want her just to be a friend. And she goes, well, as long as you don't tell anybody this, but yes, I am that person. My name is now Izumi Midoriya. Because apparently something happened to my parents, and now they're after me, and somebody's after me. Actually, you know what? This is the end of the thing. And all of a sudden, Mount Lady wakes up from whatever happened and clicks on her earpiece saying emergency. Heroes down. So all the heroes immediately evacuate the stands. And there's still one guy yelling, where is Toph? Whatever. And Aizawa's eyes widen. Pete's eyes widen. All Might's eyes widen. Night Eye's eyes widen. Everybody who knew who she was had their eyes widen. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Do something for my parents real quick. But All Might yells, you bastard, you killed my master. If you guys knows the anime, you know exactly who this is. Or the manga, you know exactly who this is. And All For One said is, I don't care for you, I want Toph. Toph walks out and says, so you're the shriveled potato that killed my mother. And this pissed off the guy, and he started yelling, so what if I killed your mother? All I want is your damn quirk. Give me your damn quirk and I'll leave you alone. And she goes, yeah, no. First off, my quirk is how I get around and see. Second off, if I didn't have my quirk, I wouldn't be able to do anything I want. I'd be stuck having guide dogs, seeing eye dogs, people to pull me around. I wouldn't be me. And he feels the ground rumbling. And Toph's quirk is evolving. So she So if someone looks at her quirk now, they won't see the requirement as using martial arts. They would see a slot saying amplification martial arts. So Toph's quirk is not activated via martial arts anymore. Her quirk is activated when she gets emotional or when she just wants to destroy stuff. So he feels the ground rumbling. Everybody feels the ground rumbling. Everybody, including All Might, knows, run, she's about to blow up. Not literally, figuratively, obviously. And when they get out, Toph flicks her finger, and a giant. This is still being broadcasted, and the news outlet says, "Breaking news: number one villain, fighting a UA student." All they see is Toph bring up her finger, flick it out, and a piece of not barbed wire, a piece of rebar shoots out from the wall and impales All for One. Then she stomps her foot, and every single barbed wire that's in these stands gets ripped out and shot into All for One. Then she stomps her other foot. All the rock starts melting to magma level of heat, and encases him. And then she stomps her right foot again. It lifts off the ground, and she punches, and it gets shot to out in the middle of nowhere. And all the news outlets were watching, and they're like, number one hero, or new hero just saves the lives of countless civilians and countless heroes by killing the number one villain. And everybody's praising Izumi, and then All Might walks up and says, "You did great, but I have one question. Why did you kill him?" And Izumi goes, "Simple. Why didn't you?" All Might's eyes widen and say, "What do you mean?" Then she stomps the ground, and a dull spike, or no, she doesn't stomp the ground. She doesn't even move, and a dull earth spike gets launched into his side, and he starts coughing up blood and shrinks into Small Might form. And the newscasters go, "What the hell is this?" And she goes, "Why didn't you before you got that injury? You could have avoided all this death and destruction by him, including the USJ attack, which we followed back Shigaraki. He's, and yes, I'm gonna say that Toph can easily outthink most pro heroes, which I used my earthbending to stab his hand, which put a tracker in him, and we followed him back to One for All, or All for One. So the USJ was caused by All for One. The death of Nana Shimura, and everybody was just being like, "Wait, what? Who's Nana Shimura?" And All Might says, "Be quiet. We'll talk about this later." And she goes, No. If the number one villain that has claimed millions of lives gets put in jail, he's just going to escape again and continue killing." So she rants on about how the pro heroes have been negligent about how for not killing the villains and the ones that pose an actual threat to society. that will break out of prison again, and they know they will. And they didn't kill them, and then later they just broke out of prison and then went on a killing spree again. She just ranted on how negligent the pro heroes were. So then the cops walk in and say, for the murder of a villain, you are under arrest. And then Aizawa, Night Eye, Present Mike, all the heroes that just got ranted at and yelled at by Izumi are now defending her, saying she was in the right because of how many he's taken, and she was going after him. It was self-defense. It was self-defense. So all the cops were like, we still have to take her in and get her side of the story and do all this legal process. And they're like, yeah, no. If you're taking her in, you're taking us all in. And the media sees this and they're like, what the hell is happening? Bakugo walks up to her from inside the stadium, inside the stadium, yeah. So they were in the center of the stadium. Inside the stadium is like inside the confession area, or concession area, and all that cool jazz. So he was in there, and he walks out and says to the cop, if you want to get to Izumi, you have to go through pro heroes and the class of 1A. And they all pale, saying, fine, fine. But you get a strike. And all the heroes laugh and say, no, she doesn't. Night Eye walks up to them and goes, the only reason why millions didn't die in this fight was because of Izumi. The only reason why thousands didn't die a second after All For One showed up is because of Izumi. She walked out because she knew that she needed to distract him for everybody else to escape. She knew what she had to do. She risked her life to stop him. She risked her life to save you, to save him, to save all of you. And he points directly at the camera, and then he starts ranting about how pro heroes who have killed people are still heroes because they risk their lives every day. And he rants about how cops kill people too. They risk their lives every day to keep the peace and order. And then he points at All Might. All Might has killed. No one looks at those deaths because he's the symbol of peace. Then he points at Aizawa. Everybody looks at Aizawa and says, oh, you're just a murdering low-life hero. And he goes, but he's more heroic than All Might. I believe that there needs to be a symbol of peace. I believe that there's also people who need to know when to cross the line. And then he points at Izumi and Aizawa and says, these are true heroes. And I know the hero killer is watching. These are true heroes. All Might, he does it for the fame. He does it for the fortune. And All Might's getting pissed off right this second. He does it for the fame. He does it for the fortune. And he does it because he wants attention. And Night Eye spills all the dark details about all the heroes he's met, he used his quirk on, and he's watched. And he says the only true heroes are the ones that risk their lives for others and don't care the consequences that fall upon them. Then he says, Stain. He's been a hero multiple times. He's killed villains. But he's also a villain because he's killed heroes. Or what we call heroes. Not all of them were perfect. Some of them did a hero job for fun and then wanted the uh, benefits of the hero job. They didn't do it for being number one. They didn't do it for being called heroes. They did it because they thought, oh, being a hero would be fun. I like fighting. And then he lists off a few, like Ingenium. I'm just going to throw it out there. He goes, Ingenium. He was just crippled by the hero killer not more than an hour ago that we found him. He didn't do it for the fame. He didn't do it for the fortune. He did it because he thought it was fun. He did it because he thought people needed him. And he wanted to keep the Ingenium name going. And Stain is feeling regretful for crippling Ingenium. But he still has his mindset of, I need to purge the fake heroes. But now he's like, okay, I gotta rethink on how I'm doing it. And Stain now thinks, oh, I need to watch him a lot longer. So a few months go by after the rant and the very questionable actions of the heroes protecting at that point, a civilian who murdered somebody. Yes, he was a villain, but still, under law, he requires a trial. And all the heroes are like, yeah, no, he doesn't require a trial. He's the number one villain who's murdered millions of people, who survived hundreds of years. He's done this for countless times. He's the strongest person in existence, and now he's dead. He's dead. And All Might, who passed his quirk on, was like, oh, well, I need to tell the successor that the big fight is not coming anymore. And I forgot how I gave the quirk to, but so all the UA students go back to doing what they're doing. They're still a little weary of Toph now, but ever since her quirk evolved, she's been able to control a lot more water. She can control a little bit of pure water. So crystal clear water, she can control a little bit of it. As long as there's minerals in the water, she can control it. No matter how thin the minerals are, as long as there's minerals. So if you see a crystal clear lake, she can still control that because there's still junk floating in the water. But her bending got a lot stronger for Earth. She can control lava. She doesn't need to use her martial arts anymore to control it. So she just walks around campus without shoes on, and everybody's like, oh god, it's Izumi, and they run away because they're scared of her because of how strong she is. But in the few months that Izumi and Bakugo have been catching up, Bakugo asked Izumi out. No. Yeah, Bakugo asked Izumi out, and Izumi said no. then she said that she's actually interested in someone else. And Bakugo said, "Who?" And she said, "Mirio of class 3A." And Bakugo started laughing and said, "That ghost boy?" And she goes, "Yeah, but I don't know how to talk to him." And he goes, "That's easy." She goes, "No, it's not. He's avoiding me now." And Bakugo goes, "Ooh, yeah, oops. Oops. That's an oops. It's a real big oops. Yeah, that's a really big oops. I dropped you guys. Sorry. Okay, you guys are going back in my pocket. So Bakugo, or Izumi, he asked Bakugo, "Can you help me set up a meeting with Mirio?" And Bakugo says, "Sure." A few days later, and Bakugo's still a little down on his luck because he got rejected. But Bakugo said, "Sure." And so Bakugo asks Mirio for a training session. And when Mirio shows up, Bakugo isn't there, but Izumi is. And she's red in the face without knowing it. And she asks Mirio out. And Mirio is just dumbfounded because he didn't know how she felt and he's been ignoring her. So he says yes. They go on a few dates and they hit it off, and that's their relationship. But during that time, the hero killer has still been active. Yes, he's still been active. He's killed a lot more villains than heroes now. But the media has said, ever since the sports festival where Night Eye has talked to everybody in the entire, everybody in Japan, the hero killer has been slowing down his hero killings and now leaves messages of their crimes and what they've committed. And 90% of the heroes are now cleaning up their acts and doing what heroes should do and save people instead of pulling their power around and yeah, pulling their power and doing stuff to hurt people and having fun and abusing their hero status. So I'm gonna go to so Izumi is currently 15, 16. I'm gonna skip 10 years. Mirio is 18, 19. Izumi, when they're in no, 17, 18, when they're in UA. So 10 years. Mirio is 27, 28, and Izumi is currently 15, or not 15, 25, 26. And she has 2 kids. She lives with Mirio. Not Mirio. Yeah, Mirio. I'm thinking Mirko, the rabbit hero. Uh, Mirio. Mirio's Lemillion still. Endeavor has been put in jail. Ray has taken over his agency. All Might has been stripped of his hero license. because of what he's done, Night Eye has become more popular, and people have been trying to accuse him of things that he has never done. And Night Eye can easily do that because he's had Izumi for a couple of years, and he's had Mirio for a few years before that. And everybody's like, oh, he did this at this time. And during those times, he's had Mirio and Izumi both with him. So they lose their arguments very quickly. And Izumi uses Mitsuki as her lawyer. I think Mitsuki's a lawyer. Yeah, I think she's a lawyer. But Izumi uses Mitsuki. She keeps in contact with Bakugo. Bakugo has been going out with Uraraka. Momo and Todoroki, Kirishima and Mina. This one might sound a little strange, but no, actually, yeah, Invisible Girl and the Tail Dude. They've been going out. And what I'm going to add to her personality to spice things up is she's a dominatrix. She's a dominatrix. A severe dominatrix in a relationship. So that helps with her quirk. Yeah. Everything goes pretty much fine. The number one villain and the number one hero are both disposed of. And the hero Mother Earth, Gaia, Mother Earth, is now number one. And Lemillion's number two. Lemillion's known for his shining personality, and everybody loves him. And Gaia, Mother Earth, is known for her ability to save everybody at all times that are near her. And her spatial awareness, no matter where she is. As long as she's on the ground, she knows where she is. So, she helps with rescues. She helps with everything. And this is where I'm going to end this what if. And if you guys don't like it, sorry, I've got a few other ideas. And if you guys want to help me with a what if, I'm going to be doing a what if deku, female deku, was experimented on. So, and I'm going to do a special ship for that one. And yeah, it's going to be... I'm probably going to put a link to one of my playlists in the description of this video. And this playlist has a really great YouTuber's content, and it's gonna be like that, but it's gonna have two links, actually. Yeah, it's gonna have two links. Yeah. So it's gonna have three links, and you're gonna have to tell me link 1, link 2, or link 3 in the comments of which one should I base my what if on for the experiment deku. Link 1 would be experimentation like that. I forget the name of the Karusho, I think. No, Maybe not. No, it's not Crucio. I have to choose his Nomu Deku then. It's the Crunchy Fat, and then two others. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I'll put them in the description. Tell me link 1, link 2, or link 3 of which should I base her main quirk off of, the one that she's born with. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. It's probably going to only be 2 links, though. Maybe 3. But you guys are going to have to tell me in the comments. So, see you guys next time. Bye!